All right, so here I am on FOSS on the main page. I'm already logged in, as you can see, so I'm just going to go ahead to my teacher page. And the first thing you'll notice up here is our COVID-19 update page. When you click through here, it has a bunch of information for you, including some of the links we've already shared today, the professional learning calendar and the walkthrough video page. There's a lot of info on this walkthrough page, so you'll definitely want to check that out. Pretty much the rest of this page is stuff that we are already covering in today's webinar, so don't feel like you need to go and do a ton more reading, but it's a great resource if there's things you just want a reminder on. It also gets continually updated, so you will want to go back there in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks and so on to see what new resources are available. Now I'm going to go to chemical interactions. And this could be any of the courses. First edition, second edition, and next gen all have COVID-19 remote learning resources for school year 2020 and 21. When I click on this, it opens up this whole menu of new resources, and I'm going to walk us through what each one does right now, and then invite you to spend some time exploring later on and make sure that you get a chance to actually read all of them. So this first one, designing your remote learning with FOSS. And this is all grades 8 specific. It does look a little different when you're looking at the elementary grades. So if you're teaching any of those courses or have colleagues, they should check out those versions of the resources. Pretty much this whole first page, again, covers what we've been talking about in the webinar, just overviewing the things that are available. And when I get to the next page, there's a table of contents here. This is a downloadable PDF, and these will jump you to the different sections. So these will be things you'll want to check out. We have a mostly asynchronous model and a mostly synchronous model, just as an example of thinking about how to fit in the different tools and what that might look like for you. Some ideas on modifying your instruction, how to assign students different how to distribute the assignments, sense-making discussions, if you're doing your own video lessons, and so on. The modifying your instruction section talks about a FOSS remote learning investigations guide support document. And this is what we are about to look at next, because this is the second most important tool, which is why it appears second on the list here. When I click on this document, you will notice right away there's a date at the top. This is a continually updated document. Right now for chemical interactions, it has investigations 1 through 5, and not all of the video links are active yet because we're still publishing some of the videos. So you'll want to just bookmark this page and keep coming back to it because it will continually be updated throughout the school year. And when the first things at the top link you back to this, the same document we were just looking at, and give you a little bit of information about how to use this. Basically, we're looking at column C, which has specific recommended online modifications if you're teaching remotely. So what that looks like is what we just looked at, the little quick demo lesson that we looked at was session 2, which was investigation 1, part 1. And you'll see there were 2 videos that are linked here, and those were the 2 videos, and it shows you what step number they match up to. All right, let's take a look at this mystery mixture and make some observations. Every video either starts or ends with questions because we want to help students engage in the thinking, and the questions are taken directly from the investigations guide. Okay, so now I'm going to be asking my students to think about this mystery mixture and how we could learn a little bit more about it. And they're going to want to add some water. So we could go back to that notebook sheet to record our observations. And let's see what happens when we add water. Now, I'm not going to make you watch 3 minutes of this, but I am going to call out a few features as we watch. One is that an advantage of doing things by video is I can add labels and I can call out different parts of the observations for my students. And that's something for me that as a curriculum developer and a science teacher, I've really been appreciating, because I know that I can call certain things to my students' attention that in a busy classroom they may or may not be noticing. When we look at the next part, you'll see there's a video and there's a suggestion for a possible at-home experimentation that students could do, and so on. So these are the sort of modifications that are in here. And in some cases, some notes about parts that you might skip because doing things at home is just a little bit different. Then on the list, we have the videos of hands-on experiences. Excuse me. This takes you to a list of all of the videos for the entire course. Now, students can access these videos, but they can't see them on their side. These appear for you. Just like you wouldn't want to have them see all of the experiments until you kind of set them up and give them context. We didn't want them to see all the videos until you set them up and give them context. So you can just paste the link for the video into whatever you're using, whether it's an email out to students or a different assignment system. However, you can paste it into a slideshow like I did. The only thing is students do have to be logged in. These are copyrighted content, so make sure that however your students log in, whether it's using Clever or any other form of single user sign-on, or if you have done class pages, make sure that they get logged in and then all those links work. As a general practice, students should always be logged in before they start clicking on links to FOSS, because otherwise they can get confused if they see no access and all this. If they log in first and then click on any link, they'll be fine. And so these are just, again, all the videos in order so you can see all the things that we have planned for the first 5 investigations. They're all live now except for this one, which will actually go up on Friday. So we have been working a lot on these. Okay, then we have our suggestions for in-class investigations. Right now this page just says coming soon, but this is another populated resource on Friday, so you can check back to see some suggestions around materials handling. And then we have a document for Google Classroom support, some common questions about how to link specific things between FOSS and Google Classroom. Again, this message here, students need to log into FOSS before clicking on the link. So that's true for Google Classroom, and it's true for whatever other management system you're using, whether it's Seesaw or Flipgrid or any of these ones. They always need to be logged in if it's going to bring them back to FOSS. Now we have our Google Docs Notebook Masters. So this takes you to a welcome page here. And if you've used Google Docs before, you know that anybody can click on a link and they can all type in it. So we obviously don't want people typing in the masters for these, because if 8,000 students all start modifying them, that's not going to go well. So you need to copy them to your drive, and then you can assign them to your students from there. So there are instructions here, if you haven't done that before, to make a copy and copy it over, because you and your students will not be allowed to modify the masters that are hosted here. You'll need to do that copying over. Once you have read the instructions, then any of these blue links here are active, so you can go ahead and go over to the drive. There's that README file at the top, again, talks to you about the same instructions, but in case you missed it, on how to copy it over to your drive. And then all of the notebook sheets for a course are here. And then the last thing on this page is in this section is our Homeschool Connection. And this, again, these first resources at the top are things we've already talked about, just in case a teacher had missed them. Then we have a PDF here with Homeschool Connection for a course. It's available in English or Spanish, and these are additional activities that maybe don't require tech. Some do and some don't. There's some information at the front if you want to share this with families and they're having a hard time signing in. There's some login info on here and some videos. So this is a nice document that you can share with families. And then different assignments that you might choose for students to engage with. Below that is our section with our COVID-19 assignments. Back in the spring when the shutdown first started, we dove right in with the science to think about how can we communicate the science to our students. This is a scientific learning time, and there's so much happening. So what we did is there are 2 5-day lessons that use some readings that we developed and direct you to some videos and other resources and have students do some real thoughtful reflection on the virus and some of what they're learning about. And the only caution I want to give you is that they were developed in March and April. So some of our science has, thankfully, we've learned more since then, particularly the recent findings around aerosolization of the virus. And so we do plan to update these later in this fall, but only after we've gotten the main course resources up for you. So you're welcome to use them now. They're in both English and Spanish. But just know that you'll want to check and maybe add some notes or share some ideas with your students about any science that has evolved since then. There's also an everyday outside challenge, which is a great way to have students kind of thinking beyond the classroom at this time that we are all just staring at screens way more than we ever thought we would be during a school day. It's a good opportunity to engage with our natural environment in a different way. So that covers everything in this section here, and I'll just show you that the other way you can get to the Google Docs Notebook Masters is over here in the Notebook Masters list, because that's a permanent resource that will not be going away, even though we'll all eventually be back in school someday. The supports will look a little different for our earlier edition users. So if you are using 2nd edition, then you actually have already been granted access to next generation. And there's information, there's a different, let me just go back over to FOSS and show you guys actually. Okay, so if you're a 2nd edition user or 1st edition, you'll see this important notice for 1st and 2nd edition middle school users. Please just take some time to look through this document first. It will explain to you very clearly what the information is about what resources are available for you. And unfortunately, it won't be every single part of your course, but it should be helpful in some ways. If you have parents who need support, back on our main page before you log in, if I just go to our home page, then this Homeschool Connection Center has public access, and so nobody needs a login to go there. So parents can go there, and if they know what course their student is teaching, they can access that Homeschool Connection document from here. And this is the one that has all the login info. So again, if people are having a hard time or they need to support families in getting online, there's some more tools here for you.